and introduce our second presenter. Zhi Lin holds an appointment as Professor of Painting and Drawing at the University of Washington School of Art and Art History and Design, and as an affiliate professor at the Chinese Studies program at UW-Jackson School of International Studies. He is a multimedia artist whose work examines patterns of violence, intolerance, injustice, and complicity in public behavior. His recent work focuses on advancing social awareness of the Chinese-American experience in the late 19th century, specifically the contributions made by Chinese railroad workers to the prosperity of the United States and the torment they endured during the anti-Chinese American era. He has had over 35 solo shows and participated in more than 140 group exhibitions in the United States, England, and China. His works are included in many museum collections. He has received national, international, and academic awards, grants, fellowships, and recognitions. Currently, his large-scale installation video and a 40-foot-long hand scroll are on display at the Redline Contemporary Arts in Denver, Colorado, and Tacoma Art Museum in Washington. Please join me in welcoming Zhi Lin.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the tough and then participated in the last panel. And I'm very grateful for the MSU faculty inviting me to submit my work, but also I'm so grateful to the panelists and the panel chair give me the opportunity to talk about my work. Since 2007, I've been working on a series of projects focusing on Chinese American experience in late 19th century. The subject first come to my mind was in 2001, when I was driving I-80 passing through Rock Spring, Wyoming, to join the UW faculty in Seattle. I remember reading a book about Rock Spring massacre when I was a child, which is actually in my mind since. So once I finished my last project, 5 capital punishments in China, I redirected my work to Transcontinental Railway. Once I started doing the research, I found out barely have any photos can find. And then, you know, there were so many continental railways built across this piece of land, this continent, from 1869 to 1880s. However, not in this photo, nor in other photos of celebration, official celebration photos, you can find any Chinese. So, you know, those photos are quite historic, precious. Most of the important dignitaries, people indicated, marked, they were recorded then, memorized now. However, you know, we can find some Chinese images. In his writing in 2019, called, the title is Railroad Frames, Landscape and the Chinese Railway Workers in Photography in 1865 to 1869. Stated, photographer rarely taking any pictures of Chinese. If they do, the Chinese often were used as a scale to show the monumentality of the man-made machineries or the grandeur and toughness of the construction. And those are the 2 photos he used in his writing. Starting in Central Pacific Railway, hundreds of thousands of Chinese worked, recruited from China and work on the railway. And then not only they built 690 miles from Sacramento to Utah Pontotoc Summit. Also, they repaved entire Union Pacific section from Utah back to Omaha. And then later, there was a Stanford research project. Over 23 states in the entire nation was maintenance by Chinese railway workers up to 1920s. Today, we still have 80 miles of Chinese-built railway grade exist, which is in northern grade Salt Lakes, Utah. So this is a photo I took on the airplane. So I flew many times, traveled, I do not know how many times, to California, to Nevada, to Utah. And then I often like to have a window seat, take a picture. This is exactly showing you, if I don't know how to use it. Okay, this is a railway grade. There's a bridge. Bridge cannot drive on anymore, so you have to get a detour. So over years, I made hundreds of studies. Regardless it's by highway, which is I-80 in California, or in desert, like this area, which you cannot access except lonely car, that's myself, alone. And for example, this segment, I traveled 4 or 5 times. So each of those yellow push pins, that's where I made drawings. So, to me, landscape is not a natural phenomenon, but a product of human culture generated through our shaping perception of the raw material of the nature. Through the process, landscapes come into being when the fragment of the otherwise undifferentiated contour of the surface of the earth are set apart and then encoded with meaning by human viewers. So I move on for my second part of a major project, which is put together a large installation, which is 50 feet by 30 feet, 5 metric tons of gravels, which is 11,000 pounds of ballast. So, to me, the most important is find the process of seeking appropriate form and media for the subject. Allow me to study a spectrum of intersections of culture, media, and history, including everything I inherit and everything I want to acquire. So yesterday, I mentioned about this phrase. So Henry Thoreau talking about there are sound sleepers. I'm sure if someone has the pleasure of riding on the rail, others have the misfortune to be written about. This is the entire concept behind this installation. So the 3 filmmakers are my inspiration. The camera need to record the entire event, simply put that way. And this is an on-site video I made, I think over 9 hours, 3 years. And then I want to tell a story, half empty, or half full, half empty. So the top portion is the video I shoot it. Bottom is 5 metric tons of gravels, inscribed with Chinese railway workers' name. And then when you combine together, is this. But most importantly, I have those names from payroll record. And then normally mobilize the local community, Chinese American, bring their children to write those names. Further, this is a total different perspective, different point of view from Russell's photo. So the backside, I imagine myself was one of the railway workers excluded from the celebration. Besides, you notice there are so many different kind of the sound recording will illustrate or contextualize the meaning of this image. As David Lynch said, films are 50% visual, 50% sound. Sometimes the sound even overplays the visual. So this is the finished piece, last 10 minutes long, and just wanted you to see the scale. So if you want to watch the video, that's the URL. So once I finish this piece, so this is just give you a reference, this is 4 feet tall. This is, I'm not talking about this work. This is 4 feet by 27 feet long, 24 feet long, wood-block print. So I want to move on talking about the next one, confronting the horrors, anti-Chinese American violence in the past and today. China was not initially in America considered as the enemy or the evil people. And then the East Indian Company, British, controlled all the trade between England and then China. There's no way American can send the ships to China to engage any trade. 1884, right after the independence, and the first ship sent to China, the Empress of China. So on the same day, February 22nd, 1784, one ship sent to China by an American president, which is announced to the nation, announced to the world, we are independent, we're doing all our trade with China. The second ship, called Edward, sent to England to deliver the birth certificate of the United States. However, there was a major turning point I want to point out. So, about 50 years later, November 14th, 1841, during the height of the First Opium War, when British gunships destroyed Chinese city on the coast for protecting smuggling opiums to China, and Quincy Adams delivered a speech in Boston Historical Society on a rainy night. And then commonly we often say Quincy Adams support the British Opium War for the benefit of the trade because Chinese government do not allow free trade. This is not free, it's not issue of the opium, but the free trade issue. However, this is a statement people often omit. So I think this is quite important. Remember, this is called universalism of Christianity. Because China is not a Christian nation, and very hard for people, missionaries, to make any headway there. So there's a universal value there. So has to be demoralized before, be civilized before can bring back as a civilized people. So in the United States, this is a vicious anti-Chinese movement. Talking about how Chinese was rats and everything, they can take over the China. And then 1883, 1882, China Exclusion Act in place. This is often known, but people didn't know so much of the popular culture around. This is the two books I found in the university library. And then you can tell they both try to encourage anti-Chinese rights. They are based on nativism, racism, and anxiety. So between 1885 to 1887, there were over 439 cases of expulsion or attempted expulsion of Chinese from townships across West Coast. This is Tacoma. Why Tacoma? Tacoma, if you go to Staten Island, there's a big panel called Tacoma Method. So this is the telegram I discovered in the special library system, which the Chinese send out telegram, seek for help. And here is an indictment of the trying to arrest the perpetrators. And then the names, 127 names of the Chinese was kicked out to the city. Prior to the rise, there was 1,100 Chinese. But on that day, only 209 left, with 127 with names. This is the property damaged from the governor's report to the State Department. And then this is my research, find out how they chase around the Chinese, kicking them out. And then, in order to study that period, I watched a lot of Western movies. But however, watching is not useful, so I took notes. Which second, what scene, what I need to use later. But it's not, this just gives you a reference, Heaven's Gate, but I watched hundreds of them. And then, in order to, because there were horses involved, even though I know how to ride a horse, and I went back to horse farm. Plus, in order to study the terrain, I learned how to fly drones. It is very important, to understand artists have to engage audience. And then a suggestion of duality is very important. This is a painting in National Gallery, Trafalgar Square in London. Inspired me to make my first series of painting, 5 Capital Punishments in China. And this is the one and guided me for this current hand scroll project. So, about suffering, they are never wrong. The old masters, how well they understood its human position, how it takes place, while someone else is eating or opening a window or just walking the alley alone. I think the most important portion is the second half. So I'm not going to read it. And then another thing is how I portray it in this period of history. I think this is the filmmaker I really admire, and there were so many movies, Solace, Mirrors, and many others people can find. He said, I want to reveal the psychological truth instead of just physiological or archaeological or geographic truth. So in this painting, of course, I'm going to portray anti-Chinese violence, but however, I never seen those stuff. All the violence scene actually I taken from today's anti-Chinese violence from TV. So this is the TV, this is the May 1st. So this is the scene referenced directly. And then of course hand scrolling involving writing. So 2-portion writing is bilingual, English and then Chinese. So the poem about the Chinese expulsion written by Consul General Huang Zunqian, renowned poet and Chinese Consul General to China, to UK, to Japan, to the United States. And then the writing style is Emperor Song Gaozong. And then English version is Timothy Matlock. So this is the way I work on it. And both are my writings. So I'm not trained Chinese painting. I'm trained at figurative painting, painting oil. So this is, I'm embarked on something new. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. So here I want to show you the video of the So there's no way I can show segment by segment, so I decided to just make a video. And then they will show the beginning of the kick them out, remember 1:30 afternoon. And then those are all, they're all in the 19th century clothes, the horses, the Chinese carry their goods. Okay, those horizontal words is by white man, Ma. Any vertical is Chinese affidavit from the core file. So they are not made up. This is all from testimony or they overheard where they're talking about Chinese. And then also I went on newspaper, find out where they say about it. Those vertical, all the vertical ones from affidavit. So I didn't change a word about it. Of course, there's a positive stuff here. A priest said that you cannot violently attack the Chinese. And then this is all testimony. So you can tell I have intertwined animals from birds chasing after pigeon, or eagle chasing after pigeons, and dogs chase after chicken, but also can chicken fighting with dog. So also you can sell the priest on the street, and those is the, how to say, but anyway, to give you the idea, I combine today's stuff. In early on, possible, I was talking, forgot about it. All the windows going to fill with today's activity. And then, because I want to relate to today with yesterday. So, and this is the horseshoes. There's this, how to say, wagon station, people upload on, and then carry on. And then, this is today's. You look like a traffic sign, everything's today. So the dog's chasing after the rabbit. So, yeah, this is the Tacoma Art Museum here. So this is all construction work. No way 1885 has those railway tracks, or how to say, the streetcars. So the second portion, I haven't used ink go over yet. So this is all my pencil, so I haven't put the affidavit on top of it. So I will add on, this is going to be monochromatic piece, and then I think that was Saturday, and I don't have any intention to make it colorful. So the size of the piece, just give you an idea. So people often ask why so draw parallel with a Chinese painting, renowned Chinese painting. I call it the Qingming Sprawl. Other people call it along the river during Qingming Festival. I think that piece, from my point of view, the best interpretation is the painter trying to warm the court. Even though the society is doing well, Northern Song, but however, the corruption, people do not pay attention to what's going on. The Northern invasion is upcoming, and then people didn't pay attention to it. And prologue, a warning. Why Pacific Avenue? There are so many Pacific Avenues along our coast cities. So this is an understatement. So I intentionally say there are two different titles. One is on November 3rd along Pacific Avenue, USA. And I intentionally take out Tacoma. So why is it important? This is just released September 24th by 100 committees. So at least one form or another Chinese American experience discrimination over 68% each month. So this is so many states, they tried passing the law prohibit Chinese citizens to own any land or buy property, even buy a house. The past never did. It is not even passed. Thank you very much.